Hello everyone, welcome back to this video. Dolly Parton is a country music legend and an American institution. She is also a quadruple threat. She sings, writes, acts and directs, and she is that rare celebrity who is simply impossible not to love. She is Betty White in Rhinestones, Bob Hope in a 40DD bra. Incidentally, according to E! Online, Parton's most famous assets are insured for $6 like, not quite J, low booty numbers but still. Like many of the characters she portrayed on the big and small screen over the years, Dolly Parton is whip smart, incredibly funny and pretty well self-made. She escaped a really rough start in life by the power of her pen and the off-the-charts weightage of her dimpled smile. One thing is for sure, Dolly Parton has encountered a number of challenges and tragedies in her full life. But the country legend has proven over and over again that she is more than capable of healing herself. Dolly Parton was born in 1946 in Locust Ridge, Tennessee, in a one-room cabin, the fourth child of an illiterate sharecropper and the housewife who birthed 12 kids before she turned 35. According to this MSN look at her early life, as a girl, Parton was often peed on in the bed she shared with her younger siblings. She never got up to alert her parents or change the sheets because the warm urine was a welcome change from the frigid cold she often experienced at bedtime. Bathing could likewise be a nightmare in the summer. Parton and her brothers and sisters washed in a nearby river using soap they made themselves. In winter, everybody had to make do with a shared tiny pan of water. Parton is not bitter about her hard Scrabble roots. In fact, she told People magazine that she's grateful for the lessons a parent taught her in thrift and financial responsibility. No matter how much money I make, she said, I will always count my blessings quicker and more often than I count my money. And her wild and free-ranging childhood in the Appalachian Mountains has provided endless songwriting inspiration. One of her first big hits, Coat of My Colors, tells the story of a coat a mother lovingly sews for her daughter out of donated rag. The coat draws mockery from the girl's schoolmates, but she knows that while her family might be short of money, they are long as love. Growing up in a large family meant that Dolly Parton and her 11 siblings were often charged with taking care of one another. Parton remembers each older child being given an infant to take care of. Little Larry Parton was her responsibility. He was born in July 1955 when Dolly was just 9 years old. It was her job to get up with him in the night and rock him, to feed him and change him when he needed it. She considered Larry her baby. Her overworked mother, Avia Lee, trusted Larry to Parton's care. That made it all the more devastating for Dolly when Larry died just 4 days after he was born. Larry's death was a tragedy for the whole family, but it hit Dolly particularly hard. All these decades later, she can still recall the heartbreak she felt when her baby passed away, and she's never quite gotten over the loss. Parton learned to love music from her mother's side of the family, and much of her knowledge of gospel, country, and bluegrass came courtesy of her maternal grandfather, a Pentecostal preacher, according to an interview she did with NPR's Steady Growth. She started writing songs at the tender age of 7, got her first guitar at 8, and began performing on television at 10. The day after she graduated high school, she left her home in the Appalachian Mountains for Nashville in the hopes of pursuing a singing and songwriting career in the country music capital of the world. The road to success rarely runs smooth, and Parton, who wanted to record country songs, was shoehorned by the label Monument Music into the pop genre because the executives thought her looks and voice ill-suited to country. This despite the fact that her songs all had the unmistakable twang and storytelling genius of Tennessee's East Hills. It took some time, but as this piece in classic country music makes clear, she was eventually allowed to make the kind of music she wanted to, and her debut country single, Dumb Blonde, make it to the number 24 in the charts. The hits kept on coming, and in 1967, Monument released Hello, I'm Dolly, an album that made it clear once and for all that Parton was always more bluegrass. This may come as a surprise to fans of Dolly Parton and Whitney Houston, not to mention the 90s diva meets her match drama, The Bodyguard, but the tear-jerking ballad, I Will Always Love You, is not really about a romantic love affair at all, but a professional partnership that had run its course. In 1974, Parton was 28 years old and intent upon pursuing a solo career, but that meant breaking with her longtime mentor, collaborator, and friend Porter Wagoner. She had been appearing on his television show for 7 years, and for Parton it was long past time to go out on her own. She had planned to remain on the show for 5 years. She had lasted 7. She had paid her dues. Wagner disagreed. In fact, he was distraught over her decision to leave and tried to talk her out of it. In the recounting of the breakup in the booth, Parton claims she tackled the situation the best way she knew how, by writing a song. After confronting Wagner, she went home and wrote "I Will Always Love You." The next day, she performed it for him, and deeply touched, Wagner let her go. It would be nice to end the story right there, but Wagner went on to sue Parton for breach of contract. The two feuded for years before calling a truce and ending of friends. True to the song, she was by his side when he died. "We are not crying, you are crying." Dolly Parton met her husband Carl Thomas Dean on her very first day in Nashville, according to Oprah magazine. The two ran into each other outside the wishy-washy laundromat when Parton was 18 and Dean 21. Dean was struck by Parton's pretty face. Parton liked how sweet and shy Dean was. 2 years later, the two tied the knot in Ringgold, Georgia, with only Parton's mother and the preacher in attendance. The wedding was a rushed affair, but partially because Parton's label Monument Music worried that becoming a wife could stall her career. Parton, never one to be told what to do, decided to elope with her sweetheart. Her mother made her a dress and a bouquet, and Parton and Dean found a small Baptist church that would take them on short notice. Parton and Dean, who runs a asphalt company, have now been married for more than 50 years, but it has not always been easy. At a 1966 BMI dinner, where Parton received a songwriting award for "Put It Off Until Tomorrow," Dean told his wife she would have to attend such events on her own from then on. He wanted nothing to do with the entertainment business, and he remained true to this word. Parton, who often described her husband as a romantic, admitted to CNN that he has only seen her perform live a few times and is not really a big fan of her music. "I'm like his little girl, I think," she said. "He just worries about that." Growing up in an impoverish family of 12, Parton often mothered her siblings. Later, when she moved to Nashville to pursue a singing and songwriting career, she brought a number of her brothers and sisters and their children to live with her, mothering again. When she married Carl Thomas Dean in 1966, the two lovebirds talked about having children. Parton told The Guardian that she and her husband wondered what their kids would be like. Would they be tall like him or petite like her? They threw names around like any young couple. They dreamed, but nothing happened. Parton's childbearing years came and went, and she and Dean eventually faced the fact that they would never have children of their own. According to Country Living, Parton is very much resigned to her childlessness. In fact, she celebrates it. If she would become a mother, she's not sure she would have been able to tour as she has to become the star she was probably always meant to be, not to mention a mother figure to thousands of children all over the world who have the privilege of reading her children's books, enjoying her songs, meant of young listeners, and benefiting from her charity Imagination Library, which has donated more than 100 million free books to kids. Dolly Parton is without a doubt an optimist. Anyone who's had her kind of rags to riches story would be, but there was a time when she got so low she contemplated ending it all. The dark period came in the early 80s when she had what in the book Dolly or Dolly interviews and encounters with Dolly Parton she called an affair of the heart. Parton was married at the time, and the emotional cheating sent her into a deep depression. According to People magazine, the fallout from the affair led her to binge eating, which gave rise to a number of health issues. She was also juggling family drama at the time, had been receiving random death threats, and had just finished filming The Best Little Warehouse in Texas, an experience she described as a nightmare. She canceled a spate of performances and bowed out of the entertainment business for 2 years. At one point, she found herself eyeing her handgun with too much interest. Then her dog, Popeye, came running up the stairs, and the pitter-patter of her nails shocked her back to reality. She considered Popeye's appearance at that pivotal time as a message from God, and credits her own brush with rock bottom with helping her understand the often disparate plights of others. Maybe it's because her first big hit was Dumb Blonde, but for years people dismissed Dolly Parton as a large-breasted, small-brained ditz enslaved to plastic surgery and the spotlight. Even Barbara Walters, that famous feminist, asked Parton in a 1977 interview if perhaps pageant of sky-high wigs and blinge-encrusted dresses was not keeping people from taking her seriously. Walters even went so far as to suggest that Parton was a joke, a punchline. But the thing about Dolly, she's smart, she's funny and brilliant, quick on her feet. She also knows how to build an empire. Don't believe us? Ask AOL Finance, which estimate her net worth of $5 $500 million. Who's laughing now? Dolly is all the way to the bank. Of course, Parton will be the first to say that money is not everything. That's true, and it's also true that she never thought of herself as a pretty girl, as she piles on the makeup and the high hair and pour herself to high heels to enhance what God gave her. But you also can't argue with the kind of success she achieved or with her colorful comeback to Barbara Walters' wrong-headed condescension. I can afford to piddle around and do-diddle around with makeup and clothes and stuff because I'm secure with myself. Thanks for watching.